Hello there. In this video we're going to be removing the wiper mechanism and overhauling it and replacing it back in. And when I say overhauling it, I do mean replacing quite a few parts. However, it's not that expensive to replace these parts and it doesn't look that difficult. Haven't done it before, but let's see how we get on. You don't need that many tools, but I would recommend that on the top here you've got 4 Phillips screws and one there, which I'll point out in a minute, and it's sort of imperative that you have a Phillips screwdriver, because it's not posi drive, it seems to be Phillips, that absolutely locks into the screws, especially on a vehicle like this. It's like just over 40 years old. Hopefully they come out. Let's find out. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the power. You do not want your hands or anything being anywhere near here if the intermittent wipers or anything else decides to come on. It really is easy. You press this catch and it's off. It's a little bit tight. I suppose you could put a pair of pliers on it, but I haven't found any difficulty with that. Next we're going to remove the wiper arms. Quite easy, in fact very easy. This cap here comes out with a lever from a straight screwdriver. There's a 10mm nut holding the wiper arm and blade arm. Just undo that. Now, when they've been on there a long time, a lot of these are stuck. So I've always found the trick is to lift that up, wobble it from side to side, and pull, and we're off. Not that difficult. The next thing is this cap here. Again, should come if you go between the washer and the spindle. Off. And then we have this large nut here. I'd say that's about 30 mils, something like that. It's been off before for a respray. We've got the large nut and the washer and the rubber, which remains in place. Same on the other blade. Next, the 4 Phillips screws on top of this lip, 2 of which are close together for one side of spindle, and 2 the other side, which are I think around about 1 foot apart. Photo of which should be coming up round about now. Important for this, as I said before, is an exact fitting screwdriver that really locks into the Phillips head. You might only get one chance at it. Oh, tight. Oh, yeah. Tight. I've got some help. Not a great help. Come on, Harvey. All 4 screws out at the top. One left in the bottom here. We're going to leave that a little bit loose for a reason. So this is the spindle on the offside. So what we're going to do is go round, come round to here, put your hand up at the back there, and try and free it off and wiggle it. You can give it a little tap with a rubber hammer if you're confident and yours is not rusty. But that is slowly pulling through the spindle and the bracket out. Now back over to the near side and remove the last screw. There we are. Now that the last screw is removed, we have the washer fluid pipe for the near side going through this tube. Don't worry about that. Don't try and disconnect it at this time. What we're going to do is wiggle this other spindle out and allow that to drop down to around about here on that pipe, and then disconnect it because we'll have access with our hand. Now hopefully you can see that there. There's the pipe. This is the second spindle in here, and we're going to roll that from side to side and slowly get it to try and lift. Well, it's gone. Now ordinarily these pipes wouldn't be off, but that's not very good. So realistically it would be through the tube. You'd slide it down to there and then wriggle it off. This now leaves this whole unit drop down. We lift up, draw out in this direction, and the unit's out. Well, there you are. New parts have arrived. Let's cut them open, make sure we got everything. Let's get the thing apart. Let's see how it goes back together. Here's the mechanism in the vise. We're going to test on these old ones first. I think this ball comes out with a simple leverage, but I seem to remember from somewhere you've got to have them fairly straight when you do so. So let's give that theory a try. Yes, straight out. Probably quite a warm bush as well, so I would imagine that wasn't helping. Something with a wider jaw might be better, but you get the general idea. The next problem we've got is here's the new spindle. Here's the old spindle. As you can see from that, that doesn't bolt in. It comes with a kind of cold rivet. So what you've got to do is get these rivets off, drill or cut them out, press it back in and press these down. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to just cut the heads off with a small Dremel-like tool and try not to make too much of a mess of it and see if they tap out. That's worked really well. Now, you can use a centre punch, but I'm lucky enough to have a 4.6. Let's see. That'll tap out. Yep, it's gone. Yeah, drop down. Around the other side, do the same thing again. Yeah, that's worked really well. Small Dremel type tool with a cutting head on it, and either a centre punch or a punch that's around about that size. Tapped out nice and kept the holes the same size as they were before. We're in and flush. The difficulty seems to be getting it to sit flush either side. So I've clamped one side and tapped the other side in. The initial push in to get it in, it's very, very tight. We had to tap it through with a rubber mallet. Right, we're in. Initially, we sat it on the edge, 2 people, and burred the rivets over with a drift. But then we placed it inside this lovely large vise, put a large piece of metal at the side and crushed them right over. That is a lovely, really nice fit. After some trial and error, I found this is a really easy way to just press them on. Presses them on nice and even. You've got to be careful how you line it up dead square. Plenty of grease on the ball and it just pops on nice. Lovely. There's the new one assembled. There's the old parts. What you're looking out for, in my experience, is something, I don't know if that'll focus, is these splines up here on that there are very, very worn. I don't know if we can go over, if you can compare that. Now, I think you can see the difference. Battery's a bit flat, probably not a good idea. I don't think this is the official Volkswagen way of testing it, but who cares? Looks like we're running good. Right, here we are. Heater tip forward. Worth mentioning, I forgot to mention it earlier, that I disconnected the power feed on the heater box and nothing else. It's hanging on the pipes currently. So, reverse of what we did before. Over the top there. Just sit there for now. And before we go too far, we're going to check both these washer jets to make sure that they're in firmly and they're nice and clear. Just as well, that one isn't. Okay, we're out. Apparently the way to do these is to put them in sideways, press and turn. Oh. Yeah, that's locked in, that's in. Okay, well, we've put some water in. We know that the motor works. We tested it, but these haven't been used for a while. Oh. Just as well we tested them. Oh, try again. Yes. Different battery. Right. With the pipe passed through this one here, obviously you don't need to worry about the other one. We're going to try and lift it up, wriggle it into position, and make sure that this pipe goes right the way onto there. You've got a little bit to play with. Pop it out. So what we're going to do is take the jet out, poke the pipe through the hole to give us a bit more movement. Okay. Just the reverse of putting it in. I can see the unit here. Hope it's going to be kind to me. Just slowly. And that's in now, lining up. And we're going to attempt to get the 4 screws in across the top. Right. Nice clean panhead screws. Grease on the thread. Stainless steel spring washers. At this stage, I would recommend just nipping them up, that's an old term, and not tightening them right up. That's that side. Right. This side, slightly out of line. So we'll take that out. There. And try this one first. This is what you're gonna get, probably. So it's worth just leaving things not tight. That gives you just a little bit of movement on all of it. And there we are. Good. It's a lovely day. Flat washer, bolt on each one. And one of the reasons why I say leave it loose on the inside is because this one is through a different depth to that one. And by doing so, we should be able to pull them through evenly and then tighten them up. Lovely. Just nip them up now with the adjustable spanner. Now you don't want to go too crazy with a spanner. That's just about enough for now. You can always come back and recheck that later. Another thing to check, I don't know if that's going to focus there, is the amount of threads coming through on that nut. That one should be even to that one. If you want to be pedantic about it, you can count them, but as long as you can see they're fairly equal, you know it's sitting pretty right. And obviously, it should sit in line with the panel. Now the jet, pair along those pliers here. Careful not to scratch the bodywork. Really like to get that in quite a way. That's all the way in now. We've greased the jet around where the pegs are at the bottom. These should, in theory, go in by hand. Don't want to put a pair of pliers on it, really. I don't want to mark it. Oh. Oh. Lovely, that's in. Yep, that's clicked in. Okay, wire on, washers on, screws tight. Don't need to be over tight, especially not if you put spring washers on them. So what I'm going to do now is go for a test. I'm going to get some of this stuff back together, I'll tell you. We're in neutral. Definitely. Washers, wipers. They are fast. Now we're just watching now as that spindle turns for it to return to the 0 position. I'll show you that. Now what you're looking for on all wipers really good. Sorry about the light, but you're looking for it to return back to the same position every time. Okay, now it's time to replace the wiper arms. I would recommend, I need to put that on first. You put it on like that, put it down to where roughly you think it would be. Usually they've got to sit in line, in a straight line, so I would think round about there is right. It doesn't matter if you hold that up and hold that in line. Put that on. Nip that up. You don't want to get it wrong. I say that, but it's really easy to get it wrong. I think about there. You lift it up, it will sit evenly on the spline. Try that. That looks about right. Too high, and it's going to go over here. Too low, it's going to go there. ever slightly wrong, also it may get tangled up with the other one. Me personally, I would run them first up in the upward position like that to make sure you've got no problems. Now that that's returned to its original position, I put the wiper blades back on. They were exactly where they were before. We don't want overrunning, underrunning, or any tanglement. So we're going to get some water on the windscreen now. Not a good idea to run wipers dry. So first we'll simulate some light rain. Brilliant, twice as fast as they were before, much quicker. And now we'll simulate some heavy rain. I think the job's a good one, a few caps on, and we're good to go.